Welcome race fans to day 2 of the 2019 World Jet Boat Championships, brought to you by Compression Technologies. The circuit course here today in Peace River presents a lot of high-speed sections, but also some tight technical sections. First heat of the day was the 4 boats in the FX class. After spending all night swapping out their motor, Josh, Bryce, and the rest of the FX 84 high maintenance crew were happy to get the whole shot off the line. Keeping up from his success yesterday though, Tanner Froelich was again a force to be reckoned with and was able to get around Josh only a few miles upstream from the start. Tanner crossed the line first, extending his lead over the other FX boats and edging closer to that FX World title. The next heat up was between 5 CX class boats. Trapper Woolsey got the jump off the start, though Randy Huff was wanting to make up for his DNF from yesterday's circuits and managed to get around Trapper. A little farther back in the heat, Grant Perry was holding off Matt Robinson for 3rd place. After 5 solid laps, Randy sailed into his first heat win for the World Marathon. CX heat number 2 was again filled with 5 boats, and Brian Freeland led them into the race channel. Brian came out of the gate strong in day 2 and didn't look back. The final CX heat of the day was filled with the 5 fastest CX boats from yesterday's total times. James McKenna, Clayton Woolsey, and Justin Hill all got away with a great start. Kelly Locke, who was the fastest CX boat yesterday, managed to catch the 2nd place Justin Hill and made things interesting as they went through the race channel side by side. Justin showed some great driving to get back up around Kelly, though Kelly had too much top speed for Justin to keep up with. Halfway through the heat, we caught this floating, powerless boat in the water, and it ended up being Clayton Woolsey, who had to pull out of the heat and experience a DNF on day 2. We'll pick back up with the A-Class's second heat race. Tim Greber's currently leading the A-Class and had an awesome start to this heat. Tim was up to the race channel first, but the third place A-boat in this year's marathon, Darren Cage, was right on his heels. Tim had another great showing and continued to add to his lead in the A-Class, while Darren Cage finished second, and second place A-boat Barry Fenton ended up with a DNF after having intake and impeller issues.
And basically came
the U-Spec class was off to a great start, with Regan Rudlick getting the jump on Randy Tinnett. Although Regan had the advantage of the clean water, Randy was right there for the first few laps. Coming back downstream on lap 3, Randy's boat suffered a power loss and he didn't finish the leg, much like fellow U-Spec competitor Fern Aubin. So Regan had a free pass to cruise with the race course completely to himself for 5 laps. The Unlimited Turbine boats were up next and featured a couple local racers. Darren Weaver unfortunately didn't get a great start. However, he was able to get past Brian Austin just after the boat launch. While Rick Hollingworth got an awesome start in the inside line, though Jeremy Han reeled him in before they hit the narrow race channel. After a solid unlimited heat for all racers, Jeremy ended up finishing first in the heat. The final heat on this day 2 of racing was between the fastest 4 boats from day 1 in the marathon. On the far left of the screen you can see Chad Burns, while Nigel Cromie flies in on the far right side. The first to the top of the race channel, though, was third place unlimited racer Ross Schlotauer. While Chad and Nigel were now fighting for third place. A few laps in now, and Chad was able to get around Nigel for third. In the end of the heat, today's fastest time went to Ross Schlotauer, and with that, bumps him up into the top spot overall, knocking Gord Humphreys down to second. With Nigel Cromie finishing fourth in this heat, Jeremy Han now bumps into third place overall. Fantastic racing action here on day 2 in Peace River for the circuit races. Big thanks to Compression Technology for bringing all the racing action to you guys on day 2 highlight video. The racers in behind me here are hitting the water and going up the Smoky to Watino and back, and They got to be making a lot of pre-run notes because that's some of the biggest water they're going to encounter in this year's marathon. So you're going to want to tune in tomorrow's highlight video. It's going to be full action.